Hey, it's KT from the Ben and Skin Show, and you're listening to the Drunk Sports Podcast with Big Red and IndyCar Tim. Talking sports, current events, guy stuff, and everything in between. Now open up a cold one and drink along, because here they are, Lance and Tim.
You can buy me a drink.
We're all drunk.
Absolutely.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Drunk Sports Podcast. We are live at Studio 69 at Casa Nostra Grande. I am IndyCar Tim, along with my favorite co-host in the whole world,
Big Red, baby.
Big Red.
And we are up and running on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, on LinkedIn, whatever the social media du jour is for you today. You can find us everywhere. Oh, and we're recording too. We're actually, the light is red, so we're recording, which is a good thing.
Well, I mean, we're breaking this down and getting closer and closer to not having catastrophic failure every freaking week.
Dude, technology almost won again for the second show in a row.
Well, we got a standing 8 count with it.
God almighty, dude. So, yes, we have a fun-filled show for you this week. I'm hurting a little bit, I will admit. This is going to be more like the hungover sports podcast for me, as we had a dock party at the lake that I don't remember coming home from. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure my wife brought me home, but I don't remember coming home from. So, from what I remember, it was a really good time. But I'm hurting a little bit. I'm nursing this thing, but hey, I'm still drinking. I'm a trooper. Chewing this beer. So yeah, we hope everyone had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. We hope you were safe. We hope you remembered what it's all about.
Yes, always remember.
And Lance, I know you've got some something to say about that, right?
Yeah, I put a post out there early in the weekend, and just wanted everybody to remember what the true meaning of Memorial Day weekend. And I know as a vet, I get a lot of guys and girls and friends and family and even strangers whenever I'm out wearing. I've got a vet shirt or something like that on, and people will come by and thank me for their service, and I'm always grateful for all of that. But there's a few days of the year that we celebrate our military. This year, May the 20th was Armed Forces Day. That is for all the guys and girls that are all my brothers and sisters that are currently serving. Today is Memorial Day. Memorial Day is for the men and women that have died protecting our freedom. That's what today is all about. Hey,
can we raise a glass?
Raise a glass, yes.
Whatever.
Give us a toast to my fallen brothers and sisters. Thank you all, and we will remember you until Valhalla. So, those folks had 2 lives, the one that they gave and the one that they could have had. So, remember them. And then the other day that I'll throw out there to y'all is in November. November the 11th is Veterans Day. So that's the difference in the days. The Veterans Day is for those of us that have served and are still with you. Memorial Day is for those that are gone, and Armed Forces Day is for those folks that are currently serving. So, again, I appreciate all of you that have come to me and sent your appreciation my way. I love you all for it. Thank you very much. Remember those Vietnam brothers and sisters of mine that were spit upon and had garbage thrown their way for coming back and doing their job. But on that note,
absolutely,
let's move along, Timmy.
Yes, so as always, our show tonight is brought to you by the good folks over at the Highlands Performance Golf Center. They're in Carrollton, 2538 Golden Bear Drive, Carrollton, Texas, 75006. Their phone number is 972-733-4111. on the web at golfcenter@thehighlands.com, where golf, fitness, and technology meet. We appreciate all the support they give us, and in particular, Mr. John Gerber, the local teaching pro over there, one of the local teaching pros over there. We appreciate everything they do for us, guys. So we're going to start the show with shout-outs as we normally do. We've got kind of a special shout-out for me and Lance. One of our kind of sports heroes has passed and moved on to that next plane in the form of Niki Lauda, Formula One legendary driver, Niki Lauda.
Yeah, last worked for the Mercedes team in F1. If you don't know anything about him, he was a genius in building cars. He started working, and I don't remember what team he was working for when he first started, but tweaked his own car, pretty much did his own engineering. Was in a horrific crash, lost a lot of time during that season.
1976.
Yep, and came back and still made it a challenge after missing so many races. But yes, he passed this week. Rest easy, sir. Thank you for what you've done for motorsports and everything that entails.
Yes, three-time Formula One drivers champion, 75, 77. Came out of retirement because he got a big check from McLaren in 83, and then went on to win the title with McLaren in 1984. But, I did not know that he was an aviation legend. Did you know that?
Knew nothing about that. No, sir.
Neither did I. Apparently, his side job was he owned airplane companies.
Well, I guess that's where his little nest egg came from.
So yeah, he started an airline, sold it in the early '90s. I believe he started 3 airlines, and they keep getting bought by larger airlines. So that's how he was making the majority of his money. But as you mentioned, working with the Mercedes team, he and Lewis Hamilton apparently were very tight. And Lewis Hamilton attributed a lot of his success recently to the help of Niki Lauda and to their friendship. And it's a tough one, man. It's going to be tough. Of course, the Indy500 was over the weekend as well, and had a really cool piece before the race on Mario Andretti, my favorite athlete of all time. Yes, race car drivers are athletes. However, soccer players are not. So, I was thinking, man, when Mario dies, and dude, he is 79. He's pushing 80, and he's still driving that little 2-seat Indy car around the track.
No, very cool little short story. I was out at TMS several years ago. He actually drove. My uncle got to drive an Indy car around TMS, and Mario Andretti drove my aunt. She was in the back seat. So
that's very cool.
I don't know that she realizes just how
who the heck he was.
How a prestigious ride that was, man. It was fun. I got to stand right there at the pit wall and watch them run around, and it was fun. If you ever get the chance to do that, go out there and hit those folks up and get your ride, man. It's fun.
That is very, very cool. So we also wanted to give a shout out and a big thank you to our friend Mr. Tony Ellis, who donated a case of Miller Lite to the show.
And we will do everything we can to power through this.
Yeah, we may not drink it all tonight. We may be saving that for next week.
No, we're gonna try to get through it in this little hour
Lord,
that we've got planned.
I'm gonna be chewing this beer tonight, dude.
Chew faster. Chew faster. Buck up, little camper.
So, in my drunken stupor to begin the show, I failed to mention how you can reach us during the week. Of course, our website is thedrunksportspodcast.com. We are on Twitter. I am at IndyCar Tim. He is at Drunk Big Red. The show Twitter is at DrunkSportsDFW. And as always, you can email us at thedrunksportspodcast@gmail.com. So, yeah, anything you want to shout out to us, give some ideas about topics for future shows. You like something we said, you hated something I said, because Lance doesn't really ever say anything wrong, but
no, I say all kinds of stuff wrong. And if you ever want to really get down on me and send me something awful, send it to Big Red at thedrunksportspodcast.com. I have now got that set up, and
Official.
I'm officially a member of this team.
I have an email too, IndyCarTim at thedrunksportspodcast.com, but I don't have it set up anywhere, so I can't check it yet.
But then make sure that you CC him on all the hate mail that you send me, and tag him in all of it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far yet. So, moving along, we're going to go to our apology count. I'm sorry, our God Almighty, absolutely count.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a dumbass and I don't know how to podcast anymore.
So is the
open my? God, I was about to ask you to open my freaking beer.
Is the absolute count just my absolutely, or does it count?
No, this
absolutely.
is for both.
Does it count too tall?
This was both. It does not count too tall.
It does not count.
No.
Okay.
Does not count too tall at all. So it's just me and you. So the absolutely count for last episode, I did not include the golf show that we did with Mr. Gerber on the phone with us, but I know there's a few in there. But it was actually a show low for us.
I'm getting better.
Of 6.
I'm getting better.
We only had 6.
We need our podtards to come up with some new rules, because I'm getting better at holding off on the absolutely.
Well, we could just make a new rule that anytime I say something stupid or act like a fool, you can do a shot.
Well, then you're going to be drunk before we get
there may not
10
be
minutes
enough
in.
liquor and alcohol in the world for somebody to keep up with that mess. God almighty. And it gets even better. Apologies and corrections. And I might as well repeat this for next week, but I apologize for technology getting the better of us last week.
We will get this figured out, folks, and one day we will be a professional podcast.
I don't know about that.
Not just a couple of half-drunk dudes trying to figure this shit out.
I don't know about that, but, I mean, I guess we can hope.
Well, I hope we have it together next week, because next week we're going to be at the Horny Toad, and there's actually going to be people sitting around watching us.
God, we're going to look so stupid. So next week... Glad you mentioned that. We will be at the Horny Toad Cafe and Bar in Denton, Texas. I believe our start time will be 8 o'clock to accommodate their closing time of 10. But we will be there doing the show live from their awesome patio. It's supposed to be, I mean, I don't know if anybody knows this. I am a professional weatherman, and I'm calling for clear skies and cool weather next Sunday night at the Horny Toad patio.
You were not calling for clear skies on Sunday in Indianapolis, though. You text me, because as knowing how big of a fan you are of the Indy500, I sent you a little text Sunday morning and said, "Happy Indy Day, brother." And you were forecasting a washout.
There was at 9 a.m.
80% chance.
At 9 a.m. there was a 100% chance of showers at some point during the race. Thankfully, of course, that did not happen, and we got the full race in. And, man, what a race.
Awesome.
It was. We'll get into that here shortly, too. We're going to, oddly enough, I didn't even schedule a full segment for the Indy500, which I very well could have scheduled an entire show for the Indy500.
And next year we may have an Indy500 show, because I want you to enlighten me.
Well,
I want you to enlighten everybody else on the knowledge that you have enlightened me on that you have.
I was going to do a preview show, but it got sucked up by the golf preview show we did for the...
Then we'll do it right afterwards.
I didn't want to do 3 episodes this week, man. God, I can't get drunk like that anymore.
Lazy ass.
I got a family, dude, and they don't even know what I look like anymore. Because I'm always at dock parties and stuff.
And your family, just so you know, your family... it's there.
Okay. Well, they're not here, so.
No, they're not.
By the way, shout out to Lance's brother Lane, who was with us tonight and throwing us beer from off camera. I have not checked in on his fantasy baseball team recently. How's the fantasy baseball team coming? Jason Garrett. It's a process, apparently. Oh, that's awesome. All right, well, he's not winning and he's not losing, so we don't have to talk him off the cliff. So, yeah, I didn't have any corrections because I really didn't listen that hard to the last episode. So I couldn't come up with anything to correct, which is a good thing because usually we're talking out of our ass when we're doing these things. But
no, actually, I did. I sat and listened to it with Opie the other morning on Sunday morning, and it sounded all right. We didn't. We also listened to the golf preview show with Mr. Gerber, and that went well. So
yeah, that was a good episode. I'm kind of proud of that one.
I was happy that came out the way it did.
So, yeah, nothing to correct. Nothing really other than being an idiot to apologize for. Which takes us to my favorite segment of the show, short shots. Shot shorts.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Short sports shots.
Whatever the hell we're going to call it.
Whatever the hell we're going to call it. These are things that I wanted to mention but did not want to do an entire segment on, which is weird because typically we end up doing an entire segment on all of these topics at some point. So just to summarize a few things, Ranger season continues again, as they are pretty much every week when we come on. They're right at 500, 25 and 25. They just wrapped up a series with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in California.
Owned by
Angeles Disney Mighty
Mouse
Ducks baseball
ears,
team.
blah, blah, blah.
So whatever they're called nowadays. Rangers dropped 2 of 3 from them in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, it was
last night. Oh, God.
It's what it sounded like the other night whenever they shit the bed and
Dude, that little bloop single in the bottom of the ninth just broke my heart, man.
Poor Elvis.
God almighty. But again, 25 and 25, 8.5 games behind Houston still. As we mentioned, they lost 2 out of 3. They're starting a series against Seattle. So you know how Seattle was on fire at the beginning of the year. Of course, led the division very early, just running away with stuff, winning games left and right.
Bottom dwellers.
So do you know, and we said they would come back down to earth. And they did. Do you know they're out of their last 40 games, they are 10 and 30 over that 40-game stretch. So they have lost a quarter, or lost three quarters. I'm sorry, math is hard. Lost 3 quarters of the games they have played.
Especially when you went to the Colony.
Hey, man, the Colony High School, class of '89, bro. Bruh.
Yeah. How smart are y'all?
Bruh.
Half the people there at your last class reunion thought I was a classmate.
Because we were all drunk. Yeah, that's a story. We got to tell that story sometime. That was freaking hysterical. NBA playoffs that nobody cares about. Even the NBA doesn't care about it because Toronto is in the finals.
Well, nobody was going to care about it anyway because it's going to be Toronto or Milwaukee. Even though, I mean, true basketball fans will because there's good basketball being played to an extent.
Is there?
But, yeah, 2 of the smallest markets in the East, battling it out to get their ass handed to them by the Warriors, and my little brother's over here about to throw up because he doesn't want Golden State to win another one.
I don't either. I hate Golden State. The good news is for Golden State.
They're going to.
That might be a sweep, man. I'm just ridiculous. So that gets kicked off Thursday night, I believe, the 30th. Durant and Cousins are still ailing. Who knows if they're going to play in the first game. I haven't seen an injury update other than that they're still hurt.
Toronto's shot of winning a game might be in game 1 because Golden State will have 9 days off.
Is that good or bad?
Unlike Mr. Belichick and the New England Patriots where they get no days off, Golden State got 9. 9 days off.
For a basketball team.
I mean, it's good for the guys that need the rest, but when it comes to rust and actual game time, unless Kerr's got them running up and down the court beating on each other, I think they're gonna get in a little bit of trouble. So we'll see what happens.
Moving along to the NHL, the hated St. Louis Blues taking on the. That wasn't a drop. That was Lance's mouth.
No, that was, yeah.
Taking on the hated Boston Bruins. Rematch. 49 years in the making. The famous Bobby Orr Stanley Cup winning shot. So, as far as this series goes, I still think Boston's going to run away with it, but I believe Lane told us that St. Louis was up early tonight on Boston, so we'll see how that goes.
And
again.
I will never hear the fucking end of it if the Blues win because my in-laws are in Missouri, and my brother-in-law lives in Justin, and he's a huge Blues jerk. I already owe him for.
Wasn't he texting us one night?
I already owe him for the damn loss that the Stars gave to him, and so it's 2-0 now.
3-2 Boston right now as we
3-2
record
Boston. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It is up there.
That's awesome.
But, I'm going to have to owe my brother-in-law some barbecue, and anyway, I was much more looking forward to drinking a bar tab that he was going to cringe when he had to look at it to pay it. But anyway.
Well, it's early. We'll just see what happens. I've got to hope Boston. I hope they both lose. Can they both lose? Can we just cancel the finals?
Well,
God. And as we talked about earlier, the 103rd Indy 500 Sunday. Awesome race. Great race. I've watched every race, at least on TV. I don't think that's what they sound like when they start the Indy cars. No, I feel like that's a NASCAR sound right there.
Well, there are good days and there are bad days.
And man, I've seen every race. 1981 was the first year that I watched with my dad, and of course, Mario should have won that race. Mario did win that race. It was then taken away from him and given to the hated Bobby Unser. But so this was probably the most.
Speaking of the Unsers,
yeah. Oh, Little Al in trouble again.
Little Al got picked up with another DUI.
Yeah, what's that for him? I believe.
I don't know. Poor guy.
Yeah, he's got me beat now. If it's his fourth, he's got me beat. So this, man, and I mentioned to you earlier, this was a race from lap one. Normally, you settle in to the 500, especially with a lot of rookies. You want to settle in. You want to stay out of trouble. You want to keep your car clean through the first half of the race. Just stay positioned. Give yourself a chance to win. But, dude, these guys were racing from the first lap, and it was exciting. Rossi was going for a second win. Pagenaud going for his first, and they were back and forth those last 13 laps after the red flag, after what they call in NASCAR the big one.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, and it was
so unnecessary.
Little Mr. Rahal got
his panties in a wad, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But
rightfully so.
I believe he had a right to because he had position, and if this was an F1 race, it had been put to the stewards, and he'd have gotten some help.
Well, they're supposed to do that in IndyCar, but it's pretty rare when you see something like that. Blocking, like outright blocking, and there are some that have said that Pagenaud blocked him on the last lap. You're allowed to make a move, and then you're allowed to react to one move. After that, you got to keep your line. And I know going down that back stretch when Rossi had a chance to pass him in turn 3 on the final lap, he was kind of zigzagging back and forth, and I was a little surprised it wasn't talked about more. I didn't expect them to take the win away from him, but
it was a 2.5 mile track, and I believe Pagenaud drove almost 3.25 miles to get around that son of a bitch. I just what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
I mean, but and if they're going to let it happen, then why not? I mean, it's historic.
Yeah. Pagenaud gets his first Indy 500. Penske his 128 billionth win at Indy.
He had 3 of the top 5, my brother.
As he usually does.
3 of the top 5. That man is printing money.
And you know who I'm disappointed in? I don't talk about this a lot on the air because most people don't give a shit. But Andretti Autosport's obviously my favorite team. Rossi, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and then of course Marco Andretti.
Yep.
Talk about one of the biggest disappointments in the history of any sport ever. Marco can't find any speed ever. And I have no idea why, dude. The team's got the money. He's got the sponsors. He's got the car. He has the setup.
Does he not have the nuts his daddy and grandfather have?
I guess. He 05, the Indy 500, he was Rookie of the Year. He came in second. He almost won it.
Yep. I remember that. Yep.
Sam Hornish Jr. passed him on the last lap. And Marco, if that start-finish line was another half mile down the track, Marco probably would have passed him and won. Well, we almost had a disaster here. The beer was almost dropped. But dude, since then, I can't even. What does he have? Maybe 2 wins in his career.
I have no idea. I ain't gonna.
Good
Not even gonna start
Lord,
lying about
dude.
it.
Talk about a disappointment, man. It's just anyway. Not to go off of my Andretti rant.
Yes, a big race weekend.
Yes, we had the Coca Cola 600 in Charlotte.
Martin Truex Jr. pulled that one out.
Are you a Truex guy? Do you like Martin?
I like Truex. Because he's a good dude. His girlfriend / fiance / soon to be wife, maybe wife, baby mama, whatever she is.
Hook up.
She went through a battle with cancer, and it was a big story a couple of years ago, and it was really cool to see the drivers rally around her and him, and then of course he won the cup. Mm-hmm. So that was cool. But
Martin Truex won the Stanley Cup.
No, not the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
it'd be the Winston Cup.
The Winston Cup is what it should still be called.
Right, but it's the Monster Energy, blah blah blah. But yeah, so I'm a NASCAR guy, but I had other things on my plate on Sunday. I did get to watch the Formula One race before I went off. I got up early Sunday morning to watch it in Monte Carlo, and the Lewis Hamilton from Mercedes pulled that off. It was a good race. You know, running through the streets, man. It's like them running down. They're running down half of 380 out here.
Dude,
you know, and it's
that is a tight circuit.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
I love that circuit.
It's a hell of a race. Lewis lives in Monte Carlo now.
He lives wherever the hell he wants to live.
Well, whenever you win all the races that he does and makes all the money that he does and walks around in braids and crap like that, then you can do what you can. But
does he have his hair braided?
He did. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you, Lewis?
His daddy hasn't slapped him hard enough to knock the braids out yet.
Well, that's something Nicky should have handled up on when he was around.
I wished you would have. Shaved half his head like Nicky had.
2/3 of the auto racing Triple Crown were run this past weekend, as they usually are. Do you know what the auto racing Triple Crown is?
The auto racing Triple Crown. You going to throw Daytona at me?
Nope.
Nope. Give it to me then.
It is the Indy 500. It is Monte Carlo.
No, we're going. Yep. And
24 hours of Le Mans.
24 hour of Le Mans.
Le Mans.
Le Mans. Wow, oui.
So yes, and anyways, fun auto racing weekend for us. I can never watch all 3 races. Because I'm usually drunk by the time the Coca Cola 600
You can't watch 3 races because you've got 17 kids running around.
That I know of.
Your wife makes you one sandwich to handle 17 kids.
Jeez, dude, we did have sandwiches.
Your wife does make you a hell of a sandwich every year, and that's cool.
Every single year.
I do enjoy seeing that.
So I met her in May of 2005. May 8th, 2005 is the day we met.
She was 6.
Teen.
Oh.
And of course we watched the race together for the first time that same month, and that's when the tradition started, and it's every single year since then.
Did she make you peanut butter and jelly that year?
Hell no. You cannot pay me enough money to eat peanut butter and jelly.
She was 6. I figured that's all she knew how to make.
16 maybe.
Love you, Lauren.
Hey, our friends from Brazil. Hey, don't listen to the soccer segment later. You're not going to like it, Fernando.
Hey.
Sorry. Yeah, we are going to talk soccer later if you guys care to hear any of that.
Kiss that baby girl for me, brother.
The only time this show we ever talk about soccer, because we do not know anything about it.
We got the Women's World Cup coming up pretty soon.
Do we?
Yeah.
Is Brandy Chastain going to take her shirt off again?
Let's hope not, because them some bitch would be like pancakes, fried
Mia
eggs,
Hamm
laying
still
down.
Play? My cousin Mia.
Wasn't she married to Nomar Garcia Parra?
Nomar Garcia Parra. They're
Is she
not
still
married
married?
anymore?
Is she still? Lane says yes.
All right. Well, Lane's the authority on women's soccer.
Our women's expert over here. Little Lane.
Another thing I want to talk about real briefly, saw an interesting article. Sorry, Fernando's distracted me with his comments. He wants to talk about Neymar, that piece of shit. I don't know who that is, Fernando.
I do. I know who he is.
How do you know who Neymar is?
He's a striker for
What is a striker?
for Brazil.
What the hell is a striker?
You want me to show you what a striker is? Stick your chin out a little bit. Stick it out there.
Don't mess up my beard.
Love
Yeah,
you.
I don't know anything about that.
No, he's a hell of a player, man. That's their lead dog. So, yeah, but apparently Fernando does not like him. What do you not like?
Yeah,
about
let us know why you don't like him. That would be great. Let's have some
Rihanna?
context.
What does
here.
Rihanna got to do with it?
Apparently, Lane knows a little more about this than we do. Maybe he needs to have a podcast. So I saw an interesting article. There's always something going around somewhere about worldwide Wi-Fi, worldwide internet. You know, cities getting their own internet free for their citizens. I don't know how you would do that, but so this is an individual who I've heard his name numerous times and did not have any clue as to the level of his crazy.
The man builds rockets
We are talking about Elon Musk.
and lands the son of a bitches after they go up and deploy their shit. They come back down and they land in the water.
So there's no question that he is recognized as a genius.
Oh yeah,
And I guess sometimes these geniuses are crazy, but
There's
he has a
lot of them out
plan
there.
to launch, and I don't know how he came up with this number. He wants to offer worldwide internet by launching 11,943 satellites to offer global high-speed internet. He wants to call it Starlink. He wants this program
Dude, is that
to...
not what the fucking Terminators
I don't know, was
were
it?
after?
I don't remember. Starlink?
Lane,
What
what,
Starlink
what
was
was
it?
it? Was it? It was Star. Somebody tell
Something.
Somebody tell me on the chat, because it's, dude, it's something close. We're gonna Arnold Schwarzenegger's gonna show up and
I'll be back.
pull our heads off.
So he wants this to help fund SpaceX and keep it floating. Of course, he'll launch the satellites himself with SpaceX. And people have already, because of the level of his crazy, people have already drawn comparisons to the villain dude in the movie The Kingsman. You remember The Kingsman?
Yes.
Who also wanted to offer global internet as a means to destroy and control the world.
Oh God. See, it all comes back to the Terminator.
So the article points out that at first the plan might seem great, but given his past behavior, you have to wonder if there's an ulterior motive. So again, I know the name, familiar with who he is. I had no idea of the level of his craziness. He says, the article says, historically, Musk has thrown up a smokescreen every time one of his companies are in trouble. I was unaware of this. It goes on to say Tesla, for one, is in major trouble. T. Rowe Price just dumped 81% of its stock. And apparently there was another Tesla, auto-driving Tesla, that killed somebody recently. I don't hear enough about those stories, but so the experts are saying that he may just be using this as a distraction because Tesla's doing terrible, or maybe SpaceX is doing terrible and we don't even know that.
Right.
The article goes on to mention that he's cultivated a sort of Tony Stark image.
He's dead.
Yeah, spoiler, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen it.
Just somebody else. I think Bassick spoiled it for me.
Everybody knows already.
Damn it, Bassick. Shut up, Mike.
And I had forgotten about this, but remember the kids in Thailand that were trapped in the cave, like with a little kid soccer team a few months ago?
They were making Nike shoes while they were in the cave.
Apparently, he sent a submarine to Thailand to try to get them out. And as the article mentions, a useless submarine.
We all live in a yellow submarine.
I don't know about that. And then he even fired off tweets calling one of the rescuers a pedophile when all that was going down.
Damn it.
Last week, his reckless tweeting led to a federal investigation. And then he claimed, allegedly while on acid, that he was considering taking Tesla private. Stocks soared and then plummeted after that fell through. So he's a one-man gossip machine. And he's crazy, apparently. He also wants rumors flying around that he's tweeting while tripping on acid or looping on Ambien. And he wants to do dramatic things like promise to save Flint, Michigan. I am quoting the article, sir. You are looking at me with a befuddled look on your face. He wants to save
I wish I could find
Michigan.
that drop real quick because somebody needs to tell you to shut up.
So
please.
anyway, this global internet thing kind of sounds like a farce, but I thought it was interesting because of his level of crazy. That was weak. Of course I know who he is, but had not really done any homework as to, I think I saw him on Big Bang Theory. He had a cameo on Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I thought you might have been watching The View or something.
No. I would not watch The View, sir.
No, that was another buddy of ours that was watching The View. I couldn't believe you left it on long enough to realize those women were stupid.
God, they're all idiots. So,
no politics on this show.
Locally in Dallas, we have a football player.
Is he?
His name is Zeke Elliott. I believe he plays running back. And I believe he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Is that what they're called? Are they still called the Cowboys?
Yes, they will always be the Cowboys.
So this story's about a week old now. But, of course, everybody's seen him in Las Vegas. They've seen the video. He's at a music festival in Las Vegas, at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, by the way. Site of the fatal Dan Weldon accident. So, apparently, it was 3 a.m. He was at the Electric Daisy Carnival at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Police officers saw him push a security guard to the ground. Apparently, they called the security guard a victim of misdemeanor battery, even though he refused to press charges. So I don't know why.
Right, so I saw a little video of this, and I don't know which one it was. But there was a little dude about the size of, not even the size of your oldest son, Zach.
Okay.
That stood up and looked like he flared out in front of Zeke, and Zeke walked him down. And I realized the man's got a job to do, but discretion is a better part of valor.
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe don't pick a fight.
And I never realized Zeke was as big as he was until a couple of weeks ago when we were out at Travis Frederick's deal, and he went walking by. I mean, his hair being sideshow Bob
Bob hair.
Makes him look a whole lot bigger. But I mean, the dude is big.
Yes, he is.
I mean, shut up and say yes, sir, and say no, you can't do that, and make it known, and then go tell a supervisor and let somebody else get their ass whipped.
Well, and the fact that he did not press charges. He clearly feels somehow either it wasn't
Apparently
a big
he
deal.
feels somewhat responsible.
Yeah, or he felt maybe at fault for however he was handling whatever situation was occurring at that time. Man, there's been people calling for a suspension of Zeke. The NFL, Roger Goodell says he's going to review the tape.
So the question is Zeke really this dumb?
Yes, this is a question that I have.
Careful now, because our sponsor is an Ohio State fan, and Zeke is.
Well, I'm a Zeke fan.
I'm a Zeke fan too, but I mean, we all know that. I mean, I could get Thor, my little white dog that doesn't like your NBA comments on playoffs. I could probably get him into Ohio State.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to start bashing on Big Ten schools, even though they suck.
Yeah, Big Ten football.
So, to me, we're starting to see a pattern here with Zeke. Is he really this stupid to keep putting himself in these positions, these places where stuff like this can happen? And you know what? Whether you're at fault or not, it's perception. You know, maybe the security guard was at fault, and he did back him down, and the guy fell over a parking barricade or whatever it was. Somebody videoed it.
Synced it.
Somebody videotaped it.
And if I saw it, how many other people saw it?
Everyone.
Because
Everyone
I'm not a social media hound like some people are.
No. But, and apparently the next day, back in Dallas, he was supposed to run a football camp. The next morning, back in Dallas.
Kind of tough whenever you're.
Why are you in Las Vegas at 3 in the morning when you got to be back in Dallas at whatever 9?
He likes his tunes. He wanted to be at a music festival.
Yeah, that's why we have iTunes and Spotify.
Oh, okay,
you can listen to him at home.
My buddy Jeb would argue.
So I get that he's 23. I understand that he's 23 years old. 23-year-olds do stupid stuff. All right, I'm 48 years old and I still do stupid stuff.
I think I did stupid stuff when I was 23.
I did a lot of stupid stuff at 23, but you know what? I was not in the public eye or the pubic eye. Nobody cared what I did. So good for me.
Right.
But dude, when you know people are watching you and you know people are looking for you to do something wrong, they're looking for you to fuck up. Why do you keep putting yourself in instances where something could go wrong? You're about to get a big fat payday by the Cowboys, but not if you keep this shit up.
And I think that's something else that we can roll off into is that with this contract negotiation that's I'm sure has already started in some shape, form, or fashion. You've got father and son that are going to be beating heads at some point because Jarrah is going to take and lift that rug up and try to push that underneath the rug. But I believe...
You mean like the NFL did with Robert Kraft and his...
Exactly.
Prostitute.
But I believe that our boy Steven will say, man, if you want to be a part of my team, you better get your shit together.
Yeah.
And that's why... And Jerry's a Hall of Famer. Love Jerry. Greatest owner in NFL right now and everything that he's done for the league and for the team. But I'm looking forward to our boy Steven taking the reins fully. And,
you and me both, man.
Dropping the people's elbow on this shit and getting it straightened out.
Yeah, I think Steven's going to be a little more of a disciplinarian than Jerry is. Jerry wants to be buddies with all these guys. I mean, hell, he still hangs out with Dez.
Dez, yeah, I guarantee you Dez will be in the box probably 3 times this year, at least.
Just stay away, dude. I'm not a Dez supporter, as many of you are. So, anyway, yes, I love Dez, but dude, at some point you got to start making better decisions, and you gotta be smarter.
4-2 Bruins.
Is it?
Game over.
All right, Boston takes game 1. I'll take it. The lesser of two evils. So I wanted to talk a little bit about. We all know who Mike Piazza is, right?
Yes. The great nephew of the great Tommy Lasorda.
Yes. They are related. Is that how they're related?
Something like that. The great nephew, somehow, some way, whenever his name came up in the draft, Tommy put a word in, Mr. Lasorda put a word in for him, and that's how he got drafted. He is some way godson, something, some way.
I think maybe it's that.
Yeah, maybe so. Now that I said godson, I think that's right. He that's how he became a Dodger. How he became a Dodger, and had a hell of a career.
He was not drafted very high.
No.
Anyway, I bring Mike Piazza up because of a reason that I can't remember right now.
Pro athletes that don't want their kids to play.
Here it is right here. So I was unaware of this. Did you know that Mike Piazza bought an Italian soccer club?
What does Mike Piazza know about soccer besides the fact that he has an Italian name and soccer is big in Italy?
So Piazza's from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I have no idea how he became a soccer fan or how long he was a soccer fan. But at some point, Mike Piazza decided he wanted to go buy a soccer team. And he wanted to not just buy any soccer team like, in America. He wanted to buy an Italian soccer team. So this is back in 2016. He's been retired since, when did he retire? 08, 09?
Something
Like that.
close.
He's in the Hall of Fame, so it had to be, what, 5 years? So he decides he wants to go buy a controlling interest in AC Reggiana 1919. I don't know why they have such weird names for a freaking sports club.
Oh, they had an air conditioning company?
Apparently.
Sponsored by an air conditioning company?
It's the Italian city's team. And this team, it's what they call their Series 2. So it's like a minor league, whatever.
Yeah, step down from
apparently
the
in
Premier
soccer,
League.
Apparently in soccer, you can play your way as a club into the Premier League and then play your way out of it. But, so, I mean, we could have an XFL team that joins the NFL at some point based on that premise.
I don't have a problem with that.
Don't know how that works, but I kind of agree with it. I don't have a problem with it.
I kind of like the system myself.
Yeah, if you suck enough, then you get demoted, right?
I mean,
why not?
It's about time that Cleveland doesn't pull their head out of their ass. Then maybe they get to play junior varsity football.
Dude, they're winning the division this year. By the way,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that there's shitty teams out there that somebody needs to go.
So it's funny. The article mentions, and I got this off of the Athletic. Are you enjoying your subscription to The Athletic, by the way?
I'm enjoying my subscription that I have paid for and didn't realize I had paid for, but yes, I paid for.
Yes. The same thing happened to me. I forgot to cancel, and boom, there's your $50 for the year. But, hey, it's quality stuff, man. It's quality stuff.
Thank you, KT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So Mike Piazza decides to buy this historic Italian soccer team. It says that he became a soccer fan down in Miami after he retired, and decided he wanted to invest.
Watching the Cubans play soccer?
I
thought the Cubans played baseball.
So I already forgot the name of the team. The Reggiana. I don't know how. I'm probably butchering this, but
it's the air conditioning team.
Whatever. Yeah, sponsored by an air conditioning team. Was founded in 1919. So I guess they decided to put the 1919 in their name, like the Cowboys 1960 or something. We should call them that. I have no clue. So nobody in this little Italian place knew who he was. They recognized, obviously, American baseball. Italians don't watch American baseball, but he had an Italian name, and he kind of looks Italian, so they accepted him.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia, Mike Piazza. So he was very well received by the fans there, by the employees of the soccer club. Apparently, it wasn't doing too well, but it was nowhere near folding. This was, as I mentioned, 2016. We are now 3 years removed from Mike Piazza purchasing this soccer club. Do you have a guess as to where this soccer club is now?
No, none.
They are defunct. He killed a soccer team in 2 years. After promising and swearing to the fans and players that he would have them in the Premier League within 5 years.
So it took him 2 to shit the bed and...
And there is this article points out an entire folly of errors that he made. At one point, he got so sick of it, he gave the team to his wife to run.
Yeah.
So his wife, who had zero desire, she didn't even want him to do this. As a matter of fact, the article points out that when they realized...
So it's kind of like me getting a dog and then deciding that I don't want to put up with her because she whines all the time and let my wife take care of her.
Yeah, that's just like I just did.
But not just a dog, but, I mean, we've got guys that their families depend on this, and he's going to let the entire franchise shit the bed.
He paid 110 euros.
110 euros?
110 million. I'm sorry, 110 million
It's
euros.
like 110 euros, man. We're talking about,
$8.
about 150 bucks. And so, I mean, shit.
Hey, let's go buy a soccer team.
Let's go buy an Italian soccer team with a air conditioning sponsor. And, no. So it's...
Yeah, so it did not go well for poor Mike. Like I said, the article just lists a complete... list of mistakes that he's made and losing interest. The club is bankrupt.
Losing interest in more than one way.
Apparently. A court-appointed accountant now is distributing its assets. This would have been the club's 100th season, and they were all set to celebrate it. They were all set to
going to the Premier League.
Yeah,
we're going to the Premier League.
By 2021, they were going to be in the Premier League under Piazza's leadership. Exactly. So, Mike Piazza, I have one thing to say to you. Loser. You suck, dude. You suck. Go back to Pennsylvania. Oh, when I bring up Pennsylvania. So in the article, it points out that his wife really had no idea where this city was, where this club was.
Does she know it's played with a round ball?
Apparently they got there, and she says to Mike, this isn't Rome. This isn't Florence. We live in the Pittsburgh of Italy. She likened the city to, she's like, you bought Pittsburgh. Thank you very much for moving me here. So she was not on board with this at all, but good Lord, dude. Poor Mike Piazza. You know what? Mike Piazza needs a hug. Somebody find Mike Piazza, give him a hug, and help him play soccer. He probably needs a catch, too, or something. All right, Mr. Lance had something. He texted me earlier in the week, and I could tell it was an angry text when he said, put this on the run sheet. I could hear his voice. Put this on the run sheet. Why don't professional athletes want their kids to play tackle football?
I don't understand, man. The pussification of the United States continues. I mean, let a kid get run over every once in a while. Let a kid get punched in the face. Did you play tackle football
as a kid?
I started playing tackle football by the time I was 8.
It shows. Lance got hit in the head too many. Wait, did y'all wear helmets?
Yes, it was real helmets.
They were leather helmets?
No, my dad wore those.
My dad did too at A&M. Yeah, so this is kind of a touchy subject with athletes in America recently. Tony Romo has come out and said that he would not allow his children to play tackle football.
And, I mean, I get it to an extent, but at some point, you've got to let the boy get hit to understand what pain and perseverance is all about. I mean,
now I did a little show research on this. I don't know about you, but it seems that the main
I'm doing mine now.
It's by reading my sheet.
Yes,
from over there. It seems that the main point.
Remembering my text is the biggest part of my research.
I forgot we were going to do this, didn't you? It seems like the main point that opponents of this are trying to make is the whole CTE thing, the brain damage.
I get that.
The repetitive hits, and it seems that most of whoever experts are, whatever makes them an expert in this field, the kids should not be playing tackle football until the age of 14.
Okay. So
I don't know if that means your skull's more developed by then, or your brain is less likely to become injured.
Well, I know there's growth plates in there, and they, your skull grows together, and I mean, I understand that, and
right.
You're more vulnerable to it. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's kids need athletics, and tackle football, real football. I played flag football. We got a buddy, Kavanaugh, that's still playing flag football because he's an athlete, and those guys, they're a little older and they're studs, but not everybody is made for the game. And I understand that not everybody is made for full contact football. I understand. But there are kids out there that want to play the game, and they're not getting the opportunity because mom and dad are helicopter parents and are trying to protect everything that they do day in and day out. And I'm probably going to get hate mail about this, but
let a kid be a kid.
Damn it. Let a kid be a kid. Let a boy get dirty. Let a boy get scuffed up. I mean, I got scars on my body from the time I was a kid. I've had broken bones since I was 5 years old. And I mean, it happens. And I'm still walking, maybe be a little crippled, but I mean, it is what it is. And you just, damn it, let it happen. So,
it's like, we have a neighbor that just put a trampoline up in his yard. I
Does he hand out signed parent
permission slips
to let their kids, let other kids jump on it?
You know what? I had a friend in the neighborhood when I was a little kid that had a trampoline. When did they start putting nets on trampolines?
That was the daredevil part of it. I mean, there's a meme out there, that about how some kids make their names now, and us back in the day, we had the ramp that had 6 of our buddies laying underneath it with 5 girls sitting on the outside, and we're jumping the bodies, and that's how we made our name as kids.
Yep.
And now there's a net to keep you from falling off a fucking trampoline.
You're not jumping on a trampoline if you can't fall off or rack yourself on the bar in between the springs
Or jump off the
whatever.
trampoline into the pool.
Oh my gosh. I just...
Or jump off the roof of the house onto the trampoline and
bounce into the pool.
Back onto the trampoline.
Oh, I don't know. I understand being cautious. Apparently a study was done. Exposure data shows that children as young as 9 are getting hit in the head more than 500 times in a season of youth tackle football.
Well, then apparently the kid doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and it doesn't have the right coach.
Well, and that's my point. Why don't we just have coaches that teach the kids how to tackle better and the right way, how to fall the right way? You don't hit with your head. Who hits with their head in football?
I did.
And look what happened. You are the poster child for this case study. 50 years later.
Sorry.
So, I mean, I can see both sides of it. My 10-year-old wants to play football.
Are you going to let him?
I think we're going to let him.
I hope you do.
Of course, he's a big, thick kid, and the coach, the team that he would be playing for, wants him to play lineman. So it's not going to be a finesse position. But this kid's got an angry streak in him, man, and I feel for whatever kid's on the other side of that line.
And, okay, we're talking about the CTE, and that falls on more towards the playmakers. Not that the linemen don't get that, but the linemen are having their contact is, we're talking, a couple of feet before they're making contact with somebody at tops. So it's the Zeke Elliott's and the Dax and the Amaris that are, they're at full speed and they're having contact made. And that's why the rules are in place now in the NFL to change the way that tackling is being done. And yes, I miss the days of Ronnie Lott
coming across the middle, receiver,
just sitting there waiting. Let the dude catch it, and he would literally try to decapitate a man. And that was fun to watch. I mean, and that's the way we played football growing up. But I understand, it's not safe. I get it. So they changed the rules a little bit. We're all trying to get used to these new catch rules, and did he make a football move and all this other crap. But
Dez caught it, by the way.
Yeah, he did. It was a catch. But we were still lost because Aaron Rodgers would have come back and he'd have made the play. And I still say, even though last week we're going to go back into this argument, if we had Aaron Rodgers for the next 2 years, we would win at least one Super Bowl.
Oh my God!
But anyway, back to what I was saying. It's times have changed, and I understand that. But and people are parents are protective, and I'm protective of my daughter. She's 24, fixing to be 25 years old, and I'm still going to be around protecting her. But there comes a time and a place that you've got to let a kid be a kid, and you got to let them grow up sometime and let them know the meaning of perseverance. And until you get punched in the nose, punched in the throat, hit in the ear hole of your helmet, catching a pass over the middle, you will never know the true meaning of perseverance. You will never know the meaning of standing up, dusting yourself off, walking back to the damn huddle and getting it on again. I mean, the pussification of America continues.
So the title of this article that I pulled up says, "Youth tackle football will be considered unthinkable 50 years from now." So in 50 years, are we going to look back? Well, we won't because we'll be long gone. But are they going to look back and, oh, my God, we let little kids tackle each other with a football? Oh, my, what were we thinking? We were just barbarians back then. To me, if we get to that point in America, then someone else has taken over America, probably the Chinese. I don't think football's very big in China.
I'm huge in China.
Well, yeah, you're taller than everyone else.
That's why I'm not Yao Ming, but I'm huge.
Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, much less a kid. But there's got to be balance. There's got to be. You got to let kids have fun. You got to let kids be kids, like you said. So you know what? Do whatever you can to make it safer. Equipment's come a long way since we were kids. That's for dang sure. When we just had little plastic helmets with some foam inside of them, they didn't
even
fit
further
right.
since our daddies were playing.
Yeah. And
my dad, I don't know that Dad ever had CTE. I mean, he played they weighed him in helmet and shoulder pads, and he weighed in at 127 pounds playing quarterback for the Brady Bulldogs, and it's the dude kept going. I mean, he had a deviated septum, couldn't breathe right because he had his nose broken so many damn times playing football.
Yep.
And I mean, that's how he told me to play, man. I mean, you go out and hit somebody, make them know you're there.
Yeah, my dad played high school football in Grapeland, out in East Texas, the Grapeland Sandies, and went on to become a junction boy at Texas A&M. Get this, my dad played center for...
He was a junction boy.
And it was a junction boy. Played center for the Southwest Conference.
Those of you that have ever seen the great movie about the Junction Boys, this is what it's about.
That's a great movie.
Yeah. Bear Bryant being the coach of the Aggies at the time, and taking them boys out there to a boys camp that was all run down, and
in Junction, Texas,
they slept in open air cabins and bunk beds, and
no water breaks during practice.
Nope.
Talk about the wussification of America.
No, it's not the wussification, dude.
Since then, this is where we've come since then.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Daddy would laugh at us getting water breaks during the middle of two-a-days, but anyway.
So my dad played center at Texas A&M in the late 40s, and was all of 5'10", 140 pounds.
Yep.
And played center.
Daddy was what? 5'9" and 5'9.5". I mean, yeah. I mean, same shit, man. I mean, just boys being boys and doing boy shit.
Yeah. So anyway, I keep bumping this next segment. I don't think I have it in me to do tonight either, so we're gonna bump it again.
All right. So let me tell you listeners that were in on our Colonial preview. Our buddy John Gerber was on from the Highlands Performance Golf Center in Carrollton, and he gave us some winners, and he named his number one guy to win it was Kevin Na at 50-1. Kevin Na won the damn thing. And a little $150 bet would have made you $7,500. So, and on top of that, we didn't even talk about it. He had another guy that there was another major going on. There was a major going on for the Champions Tour, and
wow, we got a winner.
Wow. It only took me 5 minutes to pull that drop up.
It was good. I'm glad I stalled that long. But he also had told me that if I wanted to find a book and put some money down on for the Senior PGA Championship, the winner, his winner, was going to be Ken Tanigawa. But
not Takanawa.
Not Tanaka, no.
Tatanka.
Not Tatanka, no. It was not going to be Tatanka. It was Ken Tanigawa. And he won that as well. So
that's got to be on apologies and corrections next week.
But so our buddy Gerber, he's been doing this throughout the year. He is 5 of 20 in picking winners in golf tournaments. So if you figure there's around 120 golfers that tee it up in the opening rounds of a golf tournament, and he in 20 tournaments he has picked 5 winners. You know, that's
pretty good.
That's quite awesome. So y'all tune in Wednesday night. We're going to do a memorial.
God, that's impressive.
Absolutely, it's impressive. We're going to do a memorial preview, and we'll go into that a little bit more, but and give a recap on Colonial. But Mr. Gerber, you outkicked the covered, son, and those people that listened to you and put the money where their mouth was and where your mouth was, they walked home with a pretty good paycheck. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was, and we were talking about that before we came on the air about the Colonial preview show. I'm sorry, the Charles Schwab Challenge preview show.
It was still the Colonial.
Still the Colonial, yeah.
I was there Sunday, man. I had a great seat, sat in the Charles Schwab booth. It was actually called the Charles Schwab Chalet. Was sitting at the 13th tee box, set right behind the teeing area, and got to watch guys hit shots into the 13th tee or 13th green, and it was cool, man. It was fun to sit there and watch those guys. You know, like I've said every other time we've talked about golf, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch guys that are that good hit the ball, and that the majority of them know exactly where the damn thing's going. Yeah,
awesome,
hell of a time. Thank you, Katie, for inviting Stacy, my bride, and I out to that to share that with us.
I'm sorry, Katie. My invitation apparently got lost in the mail.
Well, you're just Stacy is her bartender, and she likes Stacy better than both of us.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
But Katie is taking golf lessons, and next year, while Charles Schwab is still the title sponsor, is going to play in the Pro-Am, and I believe she is going to hit Mr. Gerber up for some lessons to get ready for that. So I'm looking forward to being out there and drinking some beer, and a little chuckle here and there, and get Katie's golf swing where she wants it to be.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be fun. We all need to take some lessons. We all need to have our golf swing where we want it to be. I don't know that that's ever achievable, but the good folks over at the Highlands Performance Golf Center, they'll get you there. And we appreciate, again, all the support they've given us over in Carrollton. Don't forget, next Sunday night, 8 p.m., we will be back on the air, back on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Periscope, LinkedIn, and then recording the episode live from the Horny Toad Cafe and Bar in Denton, Texas. We hope anybody in the Denton area, North Texas, wants to come out, say hello.
Right there off of 35 and Loop 288.
On the north side of town.
On the north side of town.
Far north loop, yeah.
Yep.
Headed on into Sanger. But, yeah, they're right there on the corner by the old outlet mall, if you're familiar with that area. So, again, 8 o'clock, come out and join us, do some shots with us, have some beer with us. They got a great menu, great staff. We're looking real forward to beginning our relationship with them. And
see me, beer me.
See me, beer me. Not NA, though. I don't want NA.
No.
Sorry, Gavin.
Love you, bud. Saw you popped on here for a minute. Appreciate your support.
Yep. All right, anything else for tonight, Lance?
Nothing on the sheet.
All right, why don't you take us out of here?
Once again, folks, Timmy and I both hope that you find happiness as we have, and again, remember the reason for this weekend, the reason that you all got, the reason we all got another day off. Those fallen brothers and sisters that did not make it home and did not have that second life to live, that I have post-military. So I did get to spend a weekend with my boss when I was 19 years old. So 30 years ago, the man was my boss, Hector Rosas. God bless you, sir. Senior Master Sergeant will always be one of the bigger influences in my life next to my dad. thank you so much for everything you've done for me. Thank you to all the drunk dudes and drunk dolls and all of our podtards. Thank you all for joining us. Tweet us, share us. Let's build the show. We love y'all. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Drunk Sports Podcast. Join us next time for more Drunk Sports Talk with Lance and Tim. Until next time, here's to you.
This is the funnest night ever.
We're all drunk.